Hi, Peggy. Thank you for joining us. So many great people today. So please, again, hit that share button. Let people know that we are live. Tell them to join us because we are going to jump into our very first session. We have Mary Ann Pierce, who is the founder of Map Digital. She has been a mentor of mine, whether she knows it or not. I don't know if that's official for many years since joining the industry. Mary Ann, thank you so much for taking some time to join us today. How are you?
Oh, Liz, it's a pleasure. And I'm your mentor. You're my mentor. I'm just so delighted just to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's the best part about mentors is if like you could find one little thing to give back, then you don't feel like you're just taking. So
Two-way street. It's all about collaboration. And I
yeah,
think that's what we're going to talk about today, about, the new events 3.0 and about collaboration. So great.
everyone
So
is
I'll get
talking
started.
about. Yeah, I'm going to let you take it off. Everyone's talking about monetizing. What does this new world look like? So we're going to dive right in. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you very much. As Mary Ann Pierce, the founder and CEO of Map Digital. And being virtual only for nearly 2 years was extraordinarily disruptive for our events industry. Even we at Map Digital, where we've been producing webcast events for over 2 decades, really felt a little bit of heat, like we are all in a new land. However, we believe that there were discoveries that virtual revealed that will lead us into an Events 3.0 model that will enable new growth and monetization. In fact, we wrote an ebook in which you can download from our website. The three discoveries that we identified at Map Digital are that events are content marketing engines, events are communities, and events are interconnected platforms. Today, we'll explore events are interconnected platforms and how to build this tech stack to grow your audience from it and to uncover new revenue and monetization. So, just a little background. This September, Map Digital celebrated our 20th anniversary. We've been on the cutting edge of digitalization of events since my first live webcast back in 1996. And for reference, here's a diagram of our MetaMeetings platform, a SaaS events platform that we've been building for 20 years. Working with our investment banking clients, we've built an integrated event platform from on-site badging to RFID, content management, and webcasting, all on a rich interactive website, the MetaMeetings website, and we even throw in digital signage. We're the only tech provider for most of our clients' conferences, and we go from on-site connectivity to data analytics. You can see by this diagram that one of Map Digital's core tenet is integration is innovation. But we believe that we finally have hit the tipping point of the digital transformation in our industry. The art will be in designing experiences for our attendee customers that will enhance their experience and delight them, and will also deliver new paths for growth and for revenue. So let's roll the video of events ARC as content marketing engines. No sound. Mm. So I'm asked to talk over it. So regrettably sorry, we did test. Anyway, we're going into our process of how we take a video from an event and bring it into a content marketing piece. So basically, we're showing you some examples here of some of the work we've done, and webcasting or video on the web is incredibly effective. And then to do it, we have to work with other partners. This is where the collaboration comes from. This is where integrating with your partners. And these are our core partners that we are APIing into. So as we like to say, integration is innovation. And then here's some long tail uses for those snippets. They can be used for news direct, into PR publishing, social media, into your special interest groups, community websites. We believe that content fuels the digital campfires that build community. So there we go. Thank you so much. Well, I have to apologize, but we did test, but thank goodness we had captions. And that's one of the key tenets when you do anything on the web, especially for social media. We watch our videos on our phone and we read them. So always have those captions. So with the rise of virtual, video became standard with our Zooms, and video that was once very expensive to produce now was a byproduct of virtual. However, these files are huge and they're very difficult to manage. They need to be careful. You need to develop a carefully calibrated workflow to build an assembly line, so to speak, to push these big video files on their transformational journey. And you need to work with other platforms. Mapping out your video's journey from platform to platform must be orchestrated so that the platforms do the heavy lifting, not you. You want to work with providers that have open APIs. That's application protocol interface. And that's like a digital handshake. And this is all about interconnected platforms, which is the third discovery that we discovered going virtual. And they have to be willing to work with each other. And that's all about Events 3.0, is about interconnecting platforms so that you can get the customized, bespoke experience that you need for your events and for your KPIs. All sounds really logical, but let's break it down. First of all, each session is given a numbered file that it takes to its whole transformation. This is basic. So when it comes off of MetaMeetings onto the AI platform, onto the machine learning platform, it all has the same number. So it can be tracked and any data associated with it can be mapped. It's really important to, when you have your webcast or coming from your events, that the videos are edited, the heads and tails. I mean, send the neatest version into it before it goes into the AI and the machine learning platform. And this will make a very good use of your time and post. It's really key when we get into content optimization to have a good transcript. The transcript first passes by artificial intelligence and then take the time to have it proofed by a human. This adds a little bit of time and cost, but we work in financial services and a misplaced decimal point can cost a lot of problems and a lot of money. And then from our platform, we push the edited video to our partners, AMP Digital in London. They're on the IBM Watson platform, and they make these videos searchable. As you saw in the video with the one from the UN, you can search by keywords, and they render captions in 6 different languages and allows your attendees to also create their own playlist. It's important to have a clear workflow established. Once again, we just can't say it enough in practice. And we're APIing into these other platforms. We're in the process of building them or in different stages of that, but it's really important to have the workflow. That's where the art really comes into. Also, these files, video files, are huge. So you want to be able to have everything in the cloud, whether it's Amazon or whatever cloud provider you're on. You don't want to have your videos on an AV text hard drive and searching to upload. Everything in the cloud is elegant. Also, when you do these searches on these AI platforms, the speech to text AI, mark the words that are searched for and continue to put that into your attendees' sort of content data wallet. We'll talk a little bit about how important you're collecting and assessing the data content that your attendees are clicking by watching webcast or the repeat or the live or repeat of this session is really critical, how we're using it for some business and monetization applications. And a special note with the content usage, pre-pandemic, we have our sales team with the banks, and they have their relationships, and they didn't think that who watched what webcast and who downloaded, and that metadata. Basically, this attendee's really interested in software companies, or this one's really interested in telecommunications. That metadata, they call that. They weren't really interested, and then the pandemic happened, and they only had our content data really to measure. Let's say they all had an epiphany and they are really utilizing that extra critical advantage that these people, basically, this is what they like to do. They might tell you on a survey they like something, but how they click really tells you what their behavior is. It's really important that we're trying now to find some monetization of that content data. We're looking at establishing with one-on-one meetings. It's not just people's marketing data, how many emails it took to open it or what their history of been attending a conference, but really what sessions they attended. Each session has metadata. Can we match them with other attendees there based on their content usage, and or match them with sponsors and exhibitors? I mean, basically have a more detailed profile in which to do that matching. This is something that we're working on. We call it leads as a service. And also, when we get to these videos, we also send out to our new partner, which is a woman-run company out of Ireland named Gist. It's a machine learning platform that the videos, when we send them to them, they automatically generate a 3-minute snippet. And that means we don't have to get the transcripts and edit it ourselves. The machine does it for us. We just did an event with them, and they were quite good. Some needed a little bit of work and tweaking, but it saved us tremendous amounts of time. It takes us about 24 hours and 3 people to generate the snippets the old way. And this way we have kind of like, a first rough cut draft that we can go and move for. And, it reduces time until we publish, and we can maximize the lift that you get from the conferences if you get that content marketing campaign out quickly. So basically with social media, I think that we all know that video on the web is just incredibly powerful. And I think that we should try to utilize this as much as possible, this great content of your conferences, and see if you can also monetize it. So anyway, great. So I'm getting notes. Okay, anyway, and then basically, producing events are complicated. So if you're going to start thinking about content marketing, have at least 3 teams. I mean, have your content people, your speaker ready in the beginning, have your production team, and have another team dedicated to the content marketing. It's really difficult to do, and we want to make sure that, we're so exhausted, it doesn't get like dropped off. So we're going to show you now a recent example of, I just mentioned it, of an event that we just produced at the UN. It's the Global Green Inclusive Innovation Summit, and it was held to pre-COP and pre-G20 that are happening right now, and talking about getting more women involved in certain STEM for renewable energies and agriculture and space, because there's huge contracts coming out, and helping women to get some of that, the cut of the money that's being spent to get to establish the SDGs, or to realize the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. So we put our first copy, all the videos through Gist, and our aim was to build a community from zero. We had just started the LinkedIn page and the MetaMeetings website. And by the end of 2 weeks, we have 182 followers on LinkedIn and 82 unique users on the MetaMeetings platform, where they can go back and watch the sessions and download the reports. And we believe most of this is because of the video snippets that we put out there. So we're going to play a little snippet that was generated from the UN. So we're going to see if we have the sound problem here.
Always be networking. For this conference, we used 3 women-run platforms. DLZP for registration. I met Lisa over there, Burnett, at the Global Summit of Women in Lisbon. She's an Amazon partner, and I need to be. So therefore, we decided to collaborate. Also Gist, which is a women-run company, and I met them through my work.
Okay, so literally, we just sent the videos off to Gist, and they found that perfect segment for us that we were talking about getting more women with platforms and building it. Also, there's for women out there who have tech companies. I think you all know the White House has doubled the quota for the DEA, the women-owned small businesses and minorities. So any of your procurement offices are really looking to hire women-run platforms. So we're kind of thinking of putting a super group together because we're all friends and we all do complementary things. So that's just kind of like happened from our networking, always be networking. So that's great. So this slide basically is sort of like, like the Star Wars map, what we think can happen, um, we think video is such a powerful tool, and we know that major advertising agencies and spend a fortune to develop content, and events just basically have content. So can we find a way to harness it and to use it to grow your audiences? Maybe people who couldn't attend, but they'll be attracted by by the video. Also, we discovered in a lot of our testing and a lot of the work that we've done, and most of our content marketing work has been done for our social good clients because we need to build their networks and their audiences, is that the speakers have tremendous, many of them have tremendous networks. So you make their brand and they help make your brand. So it's really interesting. And then you could also take those snippets, and if you work with Rachel Stevens of Snowball, you just give her some nice, some lovely little videos in which she can really amplify on her platform. So I think that's about what I have here. I mean, I think the long tail of it is that it's, we say video content's a gift that keeps on giving. It attracts people to come back and to gather together. I think it'd be a major play to establish communities. You have to feed content to those digital campfires to keep people gathering together. So without further ado, just want to thank you very much. And, with Map Digital, events are content marketing engines. And, our motto is integration is innovation. So any questions, Liz? I would be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Well, I'm sorry that video didn't work. I'm glad we figured out the audio. That was, I think, we just had to put someone else on stage to make it all work. Do you happen to have the link for that video? Do you think we can get it to people in case they want to watch
Sure.
the audio?
Yeah,
Let's
sure.
do that.
Yeah,
We'll make sure
absolutely. I'll send both videos out to you just for fun. And yeah, absolutely. And it's because we have one of our team members is also a professional actor, so you missed the voice of God voiceover. So it's
Oh, we got to watch that. Okay, we have to
so
watch.
Ed will be very disappointed he didn't get more fans. So but this is something that we've been working on for a number of years, and the pandemic just really clicked it into motion. And looking at some of the work for the Global Summit of Women we've done, and Capital is a Force for Good, and we're always working for advancement of women, and in STEM. It's just been really interesting. It's almost been, we had one snippet we put up about 3 years ago, and on Facebook, unsupported, no buy. And within 2 days, it had 2,000 views because that speaker had like half the world. And, so there was something there that we wanted to see. How can we extend the goodness of all the work we do for conferences and to build, and that data we get, we know we can monetize it when it comes to that matching.
That's the power of virtual. In-person events have their own powers, obviously. Megan says events are content. This is something we've known, like you said, for years. I mean, we're just producing tons of content all the time, whether it's in person, virtual. She just had an episode about that. There are a few questions for you, so I want to see if we can get a few of them in. Chloe wants to know how can a machine know what the event highlights are? How does that work? I mean, obviously, we can't go into all detail, but
it's really interesting. We've come so fast. I mean, especially post-pandemic. I mean, deep tech, machine learning, quantum that's happening. It's really incredible because I played with machine learning on Watson about 4 years ago, and we were laughing. I mean, it was like almost a comedy what was coming back. The machines are just getting smarter and smarter, and every time, the more you use it, they get it, and it's natural language processing. So they're mapping. I mean, like robots can think. So it really was surprising. Some of the clips needed a little bit of a massage, but just having that first run, that neat about an hour later, and then the humans could do the tweaking, saved us tremendous amounts of time. Plus, we wanted to get all these snippets up before COP27, which is happening in Egypt right now. We had a reason to get them up because we wanted to keep the momentum going. And also our people are presenting the findings at COPE. And isn't it nice to have a little snippet to show instead of just talking about it? So yeah, I mean, I think we're still early days with GIST. I mean, they're still going to have, they're just starting. They haven't had their first seed round. There's probably other ones around that use it, but I think you should keep your eye on that.
You know what would be cool is if you could match the content that's being shared. This is just random Liz idea with like a lot of platforms are building in emojis, and you can see the chat, for example. And if you could match the content, the speed of attendee reaction with the content and be able to clip based on what attendees were really engaging with.
You're an anthropologist, data scientist. That's great.
Someone else build it, and I will be happy.
I'm taking that.
Do it, Marianne. Okay, we have one more question. We have to jump to our next session. But John wants to know, what would you say are your top 3 event types or approaches that have been most successful this year?
What do you mean that event types? Like how
VIPs, keynotes, like in general, where is all this content mostly coming from? I think.
See, we come from basically the financial services, and we're mandated to webcast, whether we're on site or virtual only. So we're getting a lot of the work that we get are companies saying, "Buy my stock," and that's they trade and they leave. We are looking at a lot of stuff with thought leadership as far as with ESGs and DEA and all DEIA. Now they added ability, and that kind of the really good or very time-based content is what really is something that needs to be maximized. Not all content's created equal, you know,
Sure.
and content that's very newsy and that will change the world it's a content that you need to amplify.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. Always love learning more about the work that you guys are doing. So